The phone call came just after sunrise on a bright spring morning, and within seconds, it shattered the peaceful routine that had become the center of Corbin Hale's world. His 7-year-old daughter was laughing over a bowl of cereal while sunlight poured through the kitchen windows of their modest home. The day seemed ordinary, calm, and predictable. Then his phone vibrated. The name on the screen stopped him cold. Selene Voss. The billionaire founder of one of the largest technology companies in the country. His boss. And a woman who never called anyone personally. Corbin answered immediately, expecting instructions about work. Instead, he heard a trembling voice. A voice he barely recognized. By the time the call ended, his entire day, and perhaps his entire life, had changed. Before we continue, if you believe kindness still matters, if you believe people deserve second chances, please take a moment to like this video, leave a comment, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to A Journey of Hearts. Your support helps these emotional stories reach more people around the world. Corbin stared at the phone long after the call ended. For 3 years he had worked as operations director for Voss Innovations. Though Selene owned private jets, luxury penthouses, and enough wealth to buy entire companies before breakfast, she was known for one thing above everything else. Control. She was always composed. Always confident. Always 10 steps ahead. Yet during that brief call, she had sounded frightened. Lost. Human. She had simply asked him to come. No explanations. No details. Just an address. A private estate outside the city. Something inside her voice convinced him it was serious. After arranging for his daughter, Marin, to spend the day with a trusted neighbor, Corbin began the 2-hour drive toward the estate. The road wound through green hills illuminated by brilliant daylight. Birds drifted across clear blue skies while sunlight danced across fields of wildflowers. It should have been beautiful. Instead, a strange feeling settled inside him. The feeling that something important was waiting at the end of the journey. Something far bigger than work. When he finally arrived, the estate looked less like a home and more like a palace. Massive stone walls surrounded acres of gardens. Fountains sparkled beneath the afternoon sun. Luxury vehicles lined the driveway. Yet despite all the beauty, the place felt empty. Silent. Lonely. A housekeeper opened the door and immediately led him upstairs. The grand hallways echoed with every footstep. Expensive paintings covered the walls. Crystal chandeliers reflected sunlight everywhere. But none of it felt warm. It felt like a museum. A monument to success. Not a home. At the end of a long corridor stood a partially open door. Corbin knocked softly. Selene sat beside a large window overlooking the gardens. For a moment he almost didn't recognize her. The powerful executive who dominated boardrooms across the world looked exhausted. Dark circles rested beneath her eyes. Her shoulders slumped. The confidence that usually surrounded her was gone. When she looked up, her eyes seemed filled with weeks of hidden pain. And then she whispered something that changed everything. "I don't know who else to trust." The words were barely audible. Yet they carried the weight of 1,000 sleepless nights. Corbin slowly entered the room. Outside, the sun continued shining brightly. Inside, it felt as though a storm had settled over her life. For several minutes neither spoke. Finally, Selene revealed the truth. Months earlier she had received devastating news. Her father, the only family member she had left, had been diagnosed with a terminal illness. The man who had built their family empire. The man who taught her everything. The man she spent years trying to impress. He was dying. And according to doctors, he had very little time remaining. The revelation shocked Corbin. The media constantly portrayed Selene as invincible. A billionaire genius. A woman who solved impossible problems. Yet here she sat confronting the one problem money could never solve. Loss. As she spoke, years of hidden emotions surfaced. She admitted that her relationship with her father had become complicated. Business came first. Meetings came first. Expansion came first. Success came first. By the time she finally looked up from her work, the years had disappeared. Now she feared she had waited too long. Corbin listened quietly. Not because he had answers. But because sometimes people don't need answers. Sometimes they simply need someone willing to stay. The next several days became something unexpected. What began as a professional visit transformed into a deeply personal mission. Selene asked Corbin for help organizing her father's care and managing family affairs while she spent time with him. Many executives would have assigned assistants or lawyers. Corbin simply showed up. Every day. Without complaints. Without expectations. Without seeking recognition. As the days passed, he witnessed a side of Selene few people ever saw. The billionaire disappeared. The daughter emerged. He watched her read old letters. He watched her browse photo albums. He watched her sit beside her father's bed holding his hand for hours. The wealth surrounding them suddenly seemed meaningless. The private jets. The luxury cars. The business empire. None of it mattered in those quiet moments. Only love mattered. Only time mattered. One afternoon, while sunlight filled the room, Selene discovered an old photograph. The picture showed her at 8 years old riding on her father's shoulders during a summer carnival. She stared at it for a long time. Then tears began rolling down her face. Not dramatic tears. Not loud tears. The kind that come from years of regret. Years of missed opportunities. Years spent chasing achievements instead of moments. Corbin sat nearby but said nothing. Sometimes silence is the greatest gift one person can offer another. Meanwhile, the experience forced him to reflect on his own life. After losing his wife 6 years earlier, he had devoted everything to raising Marin. Life wasn't easy. Bills piled up. Work consumed his energy. There were nights he barely slept. Yet he had never regretted choosing family first. Watching Selene struggle reminded him that success without connection often becomes an empty victory. Days turned into weeks. Gradually, something remarkable happened. The atmosphere inside the estate changed. Laughter returned. Small moments of joy appeared. Selene's father shared stories from decades ago. Stories of mistakes. Failures. Adventures. Dreams. Stories that money could never buy. Corbin often noticed Selene smiling through tears while listening. For perhaps the first time in years, she wasn't focused on the future. She was fully present. Living in the moment. One bright afternoon, Selene's father requested a picnic in the gardens. Doctors warned it would be exhausting. He insisted anyway. So they prepared a simple lunch beneath a large oak tree. The weather was perfect. Warm sunshine. Gentle breeze. Birds singing overhead. For several hours they laughed, shared memories, and watched clouds drift across the sky. The scene looked ordinary. Yet everyone there understood its importance. Some moments become priceless because they cannot be repeated. As evening approached, Selene's father quietly thanked them both. Especially Corbin. He said something that remained with Corbin forever. He explained that people often spend their lives believing wealth is measured in money. But true wealth is measured by who stands beside you when life becomes difficult. The word struck deeply. Because they were true. Several days later, his condition worsened. The family gathered together. Doctors came and went. The atmosphere became heavy. Everyone knew what was coming. Then one peaceful morning, as sunlight streamed through the windows, Selene's father passed away. The loss hit hard. No amount of preparation could soften it. Selene felt broken. For days she struggled to function. The estate once again became silent. But this time she wasn't alone. Corbin remained. Not because it was his job. Not because anyone asked. Because kindness sometimes means staying when leaving would be easier. Together they handled funeral arrangements, family matters, business concerns, everything. And slowly, step by step, Selene began healing. One evening, weeks after the funeral, she invited Corbin to the garden where they had shared that final picnic. The sunset painted the sky with brilliant shades of gold and orange. The same oak tree stood nearby. The same gentle breeze drifted through the flowers. For a long moment neither spoke. Then she whispered the words that truly changed everything. "My father was right." Corbin looked at her. She smiled softly. Not the confident smile of a billionaire executive. The genuine smile of someone who had discovered what truly matters. She explained that throughout her life she had believed success was measured by numbers. Revenue. Growth. Awards. Recognition. But losing her father had revealed a deeper truth. The people who stand beside us during our darkest moments are life's greatest treasure. Then she told him something he never expected. She wanted to restructure her entire company culture. She wanted employees to spend more time with families. More time living. More time creating meaningful memories. She wanted the company to support people, not consume them. And she wanted Corbin to help lead that transformation. Not because of his business skills. But because of his heart. Because he had shown her what genuine compassion looked like. Months later, Voss Innovations launched groundbreaking family support programs. Flexible schedules. Expanded parental leave. Mental health resources. Community initiatives. The changes impacted thousands of employees and their families. News outlets praised the company. Business analysts celebrated the innovation. But only a few people knew the real reason behind it all. It began with grief. It began with love. It began with one whisper from a woman who felt completely alone. And one man who chose to answer. As the years passed, the friendship between Selene and Corbin remained strong. She became a mentor to Marin. Corbin became one of her most trusted advisors. Together they built something greater than profits. They built purpose. And every spring, on a sunny afternoon, they gathered beneath that same oak tree. Not to discuss business. Not to talk about money. But to remember. To appreciate. To be present. Because they had learned the lesson many people spend their entire lives chasing. The richest people are not those who possess the most. They are those who cherish the people they love while they still have the chance. If this story touched your heart, please take a moment to like this video, share it with friends and family, and subscribe to A Journey of Hearts for more emotional and inspiring stories. Special request: comment below with the words, "Time matters," if you believe precious moments with loved ones are worth more than money. And as the sun set behind the oak tree one final time, Corbin watched Marin laugh while chasing butterflies across the garden. Selene stood nearby smiling peacefully. The empire still existed. The wealth still existed. But neither compared to the simple beauty unfolding before them. In that golden daylight, surrounded by the people who mattered most, they finally understood that life is not measured by what we earn. It is measured by what we share. And sometimes, the smallest act of kindness can change not just one life, but thousands. That truth began with a whisper, grew through compassion, and became a legacy of hope that would live on for generations.